What's happening, guys? I guess you can hear me. What I got ready to roll here is the updated version for Astrid Damaris. This is for the Burrfoot project. It's AD&D2e stats. Some of the stuff has been edited and upgraded a little bit, but give me just a second to get our stream rolling here and enjoy. Okay, hold on just a second here, guys. Let's see here. Okay, what I want to do here is, hold on just a second here, guys. Let me get me acclimated here. Okay, this should be it. Okay, back here. Oh, oh, wait. Oops. I don't want to do that. Okay. Now I want to. Okay. Right there. Okay. There we go. Ta-da! Boom. All right. Hold on, Mama. I'm on Twitch. Shh. All right.
Astrid Damaris Trapspringer, female Kender, 3rd level cleric / 1st level tinker *. DM can choose to play Astrid as an NPC or PC with either cleric, handler, or tinker * skills. Kender made engineer / tinker 1 ST class *, cleric 6th level, and Hilo ambassador to Balifor and all of Abanasinia secondary skills, acrobat, alchemy and med, botany, age, 19, 40, height, 3'11", precisely. She checked. Only if she stands on her tips of her feet like so can she squeeze an inch *. Hair, blonde eyes, green STR, 10 dex, 19 con, 16 int, 14 wis, 12, tinker staat * limited to class if played as, CHA, 13 HP, 29 actinium, 6. Birthplace, the moons. It's a long story * funny but when her mama tells it is so boring so she prefers to talk of other things, yeah? Current residence, Balifor Common, a suburban plantation outside of Gwent built amongst the wreckage of a crashed spell-jamming vessel. The mansion was made of the surviving wreckage. The University of Sandgrist studies the artifacts. Astrid grew up in northern Ergoth, Hilo, at the gnomish / Kender Academy of Strange and Wonderful Things with her friends the elves and gnomes. It is silly place, yeah? Silly but serious in that we will change the world someday for the better of all life of Kryn. Astrid Damaris is the daughter of Damaris Metwinger and Trapspringer Burrfoot. She was born at the very end of the War of the Lands, although not on Kryn. Her father had brought a very pregnant Damaris back with him from one of Kryn's moons and the child was born literally as a spell-jamming ship crashed into the lower atmosphere settling in the exact same place as a historic landmark, and comically crushing an absolute tyrant in the process hence liberating Hilo once again to rise as a nation. Damaris grew up spoiled but extremely well educated due to her insatiable curiosity to improvise and improve on things to make life easier or the simple joy of discovery. She is impulsive, impatient, sometimes arrogant, but never overbearing to the point of being unlikable. She is a Kendermaid capable of building and combining all sorts of wondrous magical contraptions and gadgets due to being an engineer. Often her gadgets are rube Goldberg / mousetrap type machines that serve little function as a mere novelty but serve a probable, feasible, practical function at the time it's conceived. Being from northern Ergoth, Damaris has a slight accent. Note to players or DM, Zetsa Gabor * or brother. Theodor * German / Prussian / Austrian halted but imprecise common. North Ergothian Kender from Hilo in particular, although isolated from mainland Ansalon, still speak a myriad of languages other than Common. As such, Astrid often punctuates her speech with slight nuances due to Common not being her first language on the island. She precedes most of her introductions with the phrase, "In this, I tell you things." Her pronunciation of Common words is amusing to even the gnomes, who find her hilariously out of touch with contemporary society. In such, she seems much farther ahead of her time with her diatribes on things she observes about the world around her. She speaks in a melodic but very curt and polite matter-of-fact way, switching to a harsh rasping tone when she is angry or upset, or with an intense enthusiasm when she orates or speaks before crowds. She speaks many languages, can read diagrams and maps, and can also sing and imitate people she observes. She has no desire to settle down or root as her mother did, as she is still young, although she does not like to walk as far as nomad Kender go from the cities, so she prefers to ride, or fly, or climb. She likes to get back to enjoy breakfast and then later evening nap before tea, yeah? This I do. I will not have myself messing up mijn new shoes and then ask vogel to help them, of an ask darling pest to go dunk them in rain barrel to clean, then dry to sit on sill. Astrid likes clothes and shoes, and spends a lot of time modifying her garments in interesting ways. Astrid is somewhat pampered in that she spent much time within the protected confines of the university, albeit it doesn't stop her from getting into mischief. She likes things that make toast and tea, cooks her meals, makes her taller, enables her to fly, or gets rid of pests. Pests in her case being humans or any other demi-human races that bore her or annoy her. The Chantry of Chislev requires her to be kind to all living things like insects and even bears, but humans are an exception if they tell lies. She carries a whippik, a common pole flail carried by female Kender outdoors. She is also fond of wearing a wide-brimmed hat and cape or hair magnifying monocle. Other times she braids her hair like female Kendermaids have done for generations in a Kendermaiden's braid. This serves also as a multifunctional tool against would-be abductors, as Astrid hides files, keys, blades, pencils and picks in her hair braids for easy access. Her common traveling garb is akin to a nun's habit to stay somewhat inconspicuous, as she likes to listen in and observe things she sees. She also carries scrolls and satchels with assorted gimmicks and common Kender items. Astrid does not handle but will ask Pes or Tas to get her anything she wants. She is also fond of using any human available as combination of ladder, courier, an occasional emotional handkerchief. My dear boy, sorry I must regret, but I tell you these things that pain my heart. Astrid when upset is hilarious and melodramatic, but sincere and heartbreaking when needed. However, this is sometimes as trivial as the unfortunate death of a bug, while at the same time an actual person lies bleeding out in the street. She will casually ask him why he's bleeding, then attempt to assist them. Hurt animals are an exception. Astrid will fight a legion of armed knights to protect a youngling deer or mother cat and kittens. Astrid is also a somewhat romanticized in her thinking, as most young Kender women are. She flirts and curtsies like a queen at a ball, but will also resume the disposition of a studious and inquisitive acolyte of the Chantry of Chislev in her duties as scribe and engineer. Astrid is usually not seen far from her assigned chaperone and bodyguard Pes Petsapas Burrfoot, an island asterisk Kender who also doubles as her security and Kenderman at arms. The two are not romantically linked. Pes has 3 wives. 2 skeklins, kids, a piece all me riches go to M. Pes and Astrid adore each other however, and Pes defends her honor whenever possible. Where she goes, she insists he often follow. She always consults with Pes about anything potentially dangerous. Dangerous or not, grim or horrifying results do not deter her from an honest inquiry. This Ember, Red Dragon. I must meet him. A great many things this fearsome WRM can tell us and make us tremble terribly wonderful with his immense dragon presence. It's a dragon, Astrid. It will kill and eat you. Bah! I will not be denied this chance to converse with this WRM if I can, as I must know how he contrives the flames from within his guts to spew forth fire. It's a dragon. Yes. And I must know, adjusts her monocle and raises her little nose gingerly. This, I must know. I shall also ask him why such a foul temperament. Perhaps it is irritation of WRM's tummy from eating stupid goblins? He complains and growls, yes, but he is a dragon and perhaps his tummy hurts. Mayhaps he eat too much Kenderpak as Sir Mayere once did. 8. It will make humans constipated, ho ho ho. As such a human cannot eat Kenderpak, although I make best Kenderpak. Father weeps when he tastes, perhaps from the rich flavor of the honeydew in the recipe, or perhaps he sneezes from the dash of red capsicum powder. 8. This is not cinnamon. Astrid holds her little nose and sneezes. I must improve this recipe, until further notice. Skills. As workplace accidents were quite common around the university with the tinker gnomes and wizards about, Astrid became adept at applying remedies that sometimes actually work. 65% chance, everything from burns to an upset stomach, with the after effects not killing or debilitating her patients, making her a proficient healer of sorts with proper preparation and study. Astrid is also an acrobat, often performing in many of Kendermore's regional plays and traveling shows to raise spirits in times of woe. Astrid's mother, Dame Damaris Trapspringer, Empress of the North, was once betrothed by Kender custom to one Tasselhof Burrfoot. Astrid would be Tasselhof's cousin or niece. The marriage was annulled prior to the matter being concluded during the events of Kendermore. Astrid's mother is a diva who cares little for her daughter's aspirations so much as her own. Her father Trapspringer, although a Kender hero, is aware his daughter is young and advised her to go traveling with Tasselhof and Pest to see the world. DM's note asterisk, Astrid, due to being a Hilo Kender, is somewhat devoutly religious. She is in fact a second-level aspirant for the Chantry of Chislev and Gilean. A lawful neutral male-female deity worshipped by the Kender Druids, also considered responsible for the forging of the Grey Gem by reorcs. Gilean aspirants were responsible for Kender scribes of the monastic order of Gilean, whom after the cataclysm took up pen and quill to record their experiences to never forget. Much power in a name, more power in a memory, we think, therefore we are. To this they attempted to preserve literacy and knowledge to any races that would listen throughout Ansalon. First levels for Hilo Kender are initiates, second level are general laypeople, third level are priests. A curious perk about the requirements of her cleric abilities due to AD&D2e rules. Astrid is a Kender, but she has the curious perk of not being able to tell a lie. This functions somewhat as an hilarious Achilles heel due to her complete inability to keep a secret from anyone. Astrid will reveal the most impertinent or candid information and will often do so under the auspices that what she is doing is obviously right despite the consequences. I will not have lies. Astrid often proclaims she will sometimes chide people and tap them with her whippick to prove her point of doing so. Astrid is not like Tas. She is quick-witted and argumentative with stupid people. She also views humans as somewhat strange and will often regard them as babies if she feels they lack the understanding to comprehend what she means. She also does not particularly handle like Tas would. She will simply point out she wants or needs something if she has it and will either admit to taking it or give a feasible answer as to why she has it. She is very inquisitive and will talk to anyone at length as long as she feels they inspire or do not bore me. It is however suggested to PCs to watch out, as being talked into anything by Astrid is to be much carefully considered. She is impulsive, sometimes impatient, and humans bear little impact on her decisions, so it's to be mindful of the DM to play Astrid as slightly antagonistic toward any humans telling her what to do or ordering her around. She will condescendingly regard them as babies. Astrid has a slight penchant Kender quality about her for mischief. She also has a fondness for Dalamar of the Tower of High Sorcery, albeit she's oblivious to the fact he's a black-robed mage and a dark elf. Turns out she's a valuable source of information for Justarius and the Conclave. She often regards her darling Dalamar with great zeal whenever he has visited the university incognito with Justarius or Parsalian. DM's note: Astrid Damaris does not likely exist in the 5th Age due to the dragon Malastrix completely annihilating Hilo during the Chaos War. It is perhaps this horrifying event a DM could capitalize on as an alternate dimension she's yet to discover. Perhaps she was an eventual target of Malastrix for this very reason.
Alrighty guys, give me just a second to switch gears here. And just a second, I gotta close this one out. Let's see here, I'm gonna close this one out. Close that now. Pop this one up. Just a second. I did a bunch of these, man. I'm doing pretty good. Okay. Alright, we're going to pop this one up. Okay. Yeah, and we'll let it run in this voice. I'm thinking this is it. Hold on just a second here, guys. Let me get my shit together. I've already run some of this. But yeah. We'll go ahead and run this for context, because I always ran it anyway. So this will explain a little about Astrid and Pez, and plus about Balifor Common. Okay, hold on just a second here, guys. Give me just a sec. Alright, we got it. Alrighty. Alright, we're gonna, give me just a sec, guys. We're okay. We're getting it.
Who knew that at the climax of the War of the Lance, right at the precise moment the Queen of Darkness would have been able to claim a victory regardless of whether her plan failed in Neraka? A Sivak Draconian and an evil wizard impostor on the Isle of Sandrist, from a hidden cell in northern Ergoth, were attempting to bring about a second cataclysm, discovering the unknown secrets of Kryn's most secretive order. Their plan was to make another meteor come into Kryn's atomosphere, hence ushering in a second cataclysm. That plan failed. A very large spell-jamming ship came screaming like a meteor into Kryn's lower atmosphere and squashed the would-be tyrants like bugs when it made landfall right in the middle of the ritual. The Draconian was too stupid to move, and it, along with the Takhisis cult of would-be usurpers, were hilariously snuffed in an instant. The absolute immense size of the ship remains beached on Kryn to this day, and a mansion was built up around the debris and wreckage of the intact pieces. Balifor Common was established shortly after the debris from the last fallen piece had cooled enough to explore it. DM note: to give an idea, this ship was the size of a state. The wreckage itself of the main intact hull landed a few kilometers outside of the capital city of Gwyn in northern Ergoth, abutted snugly on the grassy plain and the scrub brush desert to the south. Trapspringer decided to name the spot, which colloquially came to be known as Balifor Common, although Gwyn is a considerable way from even Hilo and sits on northern Ergoth's western shore. The moon is closer to Kender than Balifor Common, thus chides his uncle. You're literally married to the Empress of the North. The Solamnics and the elves granted you a charter. And we name it Balifor Common? Come on. Currently they have a list of 256 possible names as voted in an unsanctioned election, but the numbers keep getting smudged because Fuj and Bupu have found the base-waxed seals on the crier notices sent out to the homes are nice to chew on and smell nice, so Astrid has to throw them back in the hopper for cleaning. DMS note: Specialty vellum scrolls cost money, so they are used and recycled. Remember that paper is not widely available even in the more civilized regions of Ansalon. Look at old methods of scroll and long-term book/making preservation around the world for research. It was here at the end of the War of the Lands, the University of Sandrist Isle and the Chantry of Chislev, of Greater Abanasinia, a loose conglomeration of good-aligned churches and monasteries mostly sanctioned by the Solemnic Alliance *, made up of the same contingent of elves, dwarfes and gnomes who had overseen study of the dragon orbs *. The Chantry of Chislev and Gilean in particular is a monastic and clerical order predating the cataclysm, with its own origins stemming from Druidic Kender, who worship Kryn's male-female deity of nature. After the cataclysm, the Kender of the monastic order of Gilean inspired many surviving Kender to take up a quill and pen and record their experiences to never forget. Over the centuries, these particular Kender became the Chantry of Chislev and Gilean, dedicated to the examination of the natural world and for the preservation of all Kenderkin. And some individuals who also have knowledge of other worlds/planes of existence connected to Weirith Tower decided to mine the wreckage of the crashed ship for artifacts. The crash, after all, did render 3 survivors unharmed and none worse for wear despite the harrowing ordeal. The ruling Emperor Mercator, relieved that coup had been thwarted on both Sandrist Isle and his island, granted, with assistance of the Sylvanesti and Qualinesti councils from southern Ergoth, immediately sent emissaries and refugees from Bartorn Ansalon to populate this new colony, to the chagrin of the native Ergothians. The refugees coming in would need skills to build their new communities, and to ease resources the Kender and elves would help the gnomes distribute literacy throughout Ergoth. It also allowed Abanasinia the opportunity to push most of the refugees from Bartorn Ansalon into northern Ergoth. The Whitestone Council under Lord Gunther was reluctant to send books to a continent where the human inhabitants can barely read, and the Kenders are as delusional as the Haven clerics ever were that they would. The natives hate us. We're as welcome in northern Ergoth as the plague to the natives up there, and the Kenders of the island are too busy telling stories to do anything constructive. The island Kender do worship Habakkuk the Kingfisher. Although Pes's people call him Haba, Hab in his language meaning father of father, hence the ba that punctuates island Kender speech, Mba, and Mamae, meaning colloquially brother, sister, or friend. Bateles Gunther is wrong. Astrid and the others at the university are the greatest hope, for they are some of the brightest young minds of their age. To quote Astrid, "There are things I must tell you. Things I must know. You learn to read, you discover all these things. You tell stories, you learn more things." The young Kender has grasped the concept that information is power. Those who control the pen and the narrative have a say in what is told and written down to an extent. So while the human and elven-sanctioned governments have no intention making northern Ergoth literate, the Chantry and university do and make every effort to even teach a gully dwarf to read if they put forth an effort and not eat the beeswax seals. Trapspringer Burrfoot and Damaris Metwinger had journeyed back from their honeymoon, on the moons around Krinspace *, and with the liberation of Sandrist Isle from a potential takeover by Takhisis, they thwarted her evil plans and were now ultimately heroes. The citizens of northern Ergoth made the couple their unsanctioned mayors and bestowed the titles Governor and Empress. Their daughter Astrid Damaris was the result of this arrangement. She was literally born as the ship came out of the sky. She was raised at the university, aptly dubbed Strange and Wonderful Things. The third survivor in this story would be one Pes Petsapas Burrfoot. Pes was not in the ship when it crashed, moreover he was on the ground as a captive waiting to be sacrificed, stuck in a cage during the ritual. Pes had survived even a crash that ended in a red dragon's untimely demise before and that had knocked out some of his teeth, but he got captured again and he would have been toast had the ship not crashed and conveniently saved his skin. He stumbled amongst the wreckage after being freed from his captors, completely bewildered about the turn of events. All he knew is that he was far from home, but his life was saved and so his aim became clear to him. And behold me ba! When the dust cleared I sees what's be but two. Kenderkin stumbling out of the rubble, Lady Damaris she must have just birthed little Asa, 'cause she handed me Astrid and that child smiled up at me with her darling little baby green eyes and then she messed all down the front of my tunic. She baptized me. Gross as it sounds 'cause I was already covered in dust and dirt and whatnot from the cage being so cramped and the feller in front of me got his throat cut right before that thing come outta the sky and got that Sivak to shut his big blabbermaw about how he was gonna bring about another cataclysm. One thing they teach me ba is ta smack when they run in that big blabbermouth 'cause they's too busy talking to see ye ain't about their silly business know-how. We Kenders talks when we needs to, but Pessa likes to rock it with the betsa and a backhand if we sees ye disrespecting any womenfolk, farting during the abbot's mass or acting like an bully. Ye sees I protect Lady Astrid like she's my own. Now don't you be foolins neither I got plenty of skaglins to take care of back home, but ye be certain Lady Astrid's virtue is not for sale. You makes her so much as cry, we's got a problem ba? Me ba Tasselhoff knows this too. We all love and care about Asa, how could we not? Tells you what, that girl she's yet to have her own adventure someday. Pes was an island Kender, an acclaimed mariner and boasted as one of the strongest Kenders in all Ansalon. As a life that he became the de facto guardian of Trapspringer's daughter and hence her bodyguard. He still travels the coasts periodically to attend to his family business as he still has 3 wives and he's expected to make his rounds every season. The rest of the time he spends either at the mansion, the tavern, or he goes out to the marsh to grabs me a duck for me stews. Pes has been known to refer to the rather cantankerous goatsucker bird the larger variety that can kill and eat Kender and dwarfs as a duck. Astrid Damaris grew up to be an engineer and tinker capable of doing remarkable things considering her being a Kender mostly there due to being who her parents were. Her dedication to the order of Chislev and Gillian is very significant in that Astrid unlike most Kender does not handle, however her one particular fault is that she cannot tell a Lea. This can be a detriment to anyone who wishes to keep a secret, which is why Dalamar and Justerius find her an invaluable source of information. It was this friendship and the fact she is also Tasselhoff's cousin has given her the potential to become a hero herself. Tas and Pes have known each other for several decades, first meeting in Balifor Bay ages ago and even knew much of the same mercenaries, brigands, losers, and ne'er-do-wells all Kender frequently encounter. Throughout the War of the Lands the two experienced identical harrowing encounters with the dragon armies. Pes actually has 3 wives across the Taladan continent, 2 kids apiece. His crew and family had traveled the coasts of Ansalon and the spine of Taladas as much as Tas had wandered the roads and forests of Abanonsinia.
Give me just a second, guys. We'll be right back. Take you a little bit of a break, get you something to drink, use the bathroom, and we'll be right back, guys. Just hold tight.
The tavern upstairs door
Alright, guys, sorry about that. We ready? Okay, hold on just a second.
Splintered and split. The tavern upstairs door splintered and split down the middle, and the evil leering face of Azrael the dwarf sneered into view. DM's note *, think The Shining. Except Azrael is still a dwarf, he's just using his cursed axe to intimidate his prey, and to fool them into thinking he's not stronger than he is because he is indeed a dangerous lycanthrope. Heh heh heh. Azrael grins with a surly growl and leans against the door, peering into the room to see a still burning blue candles on the mantelpiece. Next to a now unoccupied rocking chair sitting adjacent to the bed, there was also a small boudoir with a closet. Mr. Burrfoot, ye are pissing me off now. Did ye think ye and the Kender lass could be sticking your little filthy noses into my lord's business and not face repercussions? I've not got any orders to touch a hair on ye head, yous be a coming back to my lord to face his judgment of what he wants to do with ye. I be coming to collect, and might I add, Mr. Burrfoot, you're lucky I didn't pull your head out of your ass like a rabbit out of a hat for the wiping your bum with a badger's beard rhyme. You dirty little shite. I've not heard that stupid song in centuries, and then go sing it all smartest whistling and ruin it for me. Azrael fumed and tapped his axe handle against his palm, weighing the option on which to use. The dwarf reared back without hesitation and with a swift kick sent the door crashing inward, sending what was left of the debris into the walls above the bed. The bed was now ruined and sagged under the weight of the debris, ready to collapse if it weren't for being a sturdy iron frame ensconced on the walls with chain. Perfect for maybe one Kender to hide under. In the closet or under the bed, the dwarf named Azrael was taking a head or a soul to his master Strahd, or Soph. The blue candle still lit, albeit toppled off the mantel to roll in front of the boudoir. It immediately blew out with a whisk, and Azrael eyed the boudoir but didn't make for it. Instead, he saw the still-standing rocking chair and condescendingly sat down in it, pausing only to lean his axe down with an intimidating thump right in front of the bed. He absently stuffed his pipe and reached down for a smouldering splinter from the destroyed mantel that had maybe contained a small hearth fire, now destroyed by his entry. The room was now dark except for the glowing coal of Azrael's pipe. Smoke curled along his white muttons evilly to form a dragon wreath around his head. You think that black-robed wizard ye were spying on the conversation of my lord? Ye thinking ye can make it to the borders back to Sithicus to squeal to Magda about it? Azrael sniffed the air and stroked his mutton chops, grinding his teeth and salivating like a dog. I smelled that elven whore's perfume on that little Kender brat, smells almost identical. I picked up on it, then I figured it out. Ye come for the half-elf and his lady Strahd has locked away. Well, then Mr. Burrfoot, my lord, is prepared to give you a contemptuous offer if I do say so myself, you unworthy shitty little bastard. Azrael guffawed and continued, the black-robed mage and the Kender maid in trade, in exchange to let you walk out of here alive. Track down that amulet that Ticklemop Toothfang decided to abscond with and bring it back to Strahd. Azrael paused and puffed on the pipe again. He reached for his axe near the bed, absently forgetting he'd not paid attention out of the corner of his eye. It was very unwise to enter a room unannounced in my company. Azrael's gaze shifted back toward the open door to see in the hallway a pair of glowing hourglass eyes and pale golden skin. Figures. Azrael huffed, almost amused. I've been instructed to take you in as well, Magus Magia. Azrael sneered. Not so much alive, either state will do. Azrael held up the gleaming insidious-looking cylinder with an open cap on one end and a large extruding needle spike on the other. A push of a button made the spike retract. In your ass or the Kenders, whichever works for me. Azrael flipped the phylactery seret once to turn and grab his axe while keeping an eye on Raistlin. It was just within his reach of the chair leaning right against the bed. A split second his eyes widened to look at the axe, and then suddenly glance upward as Tasselhoff, who had been split wedged against a roof beam clinging upside down when Azrael entered the room. Azrael reached up just in time for the Kender to land on his shoulders, so hard it sent him crashing into the rocker, pinning him to the arms for a split second before he reached up and literally flung the Kender out into the hallway toward Raistlin like a projectile. Raistlin barely had time to catch the Kender, albeit with a harshly whispered, "Move her and shove and dump back onto the ground." Tars rolled like a ball out of the way as the enraged Azrael had grabbed the rocking chair, not finding his axe, and sending it also crashing towards the mage as he viciously lurched toward the boudoir where he was certain the female Kender was hiding. He wrenched the doors open for a split second, finding a broken piece of the hoopak he had callously destroyed that had belonged to Astrid. "I'm taking out her yoke. I don't need the little egg." Azrael pushed a button on the phylactery again. "It's gonna hurt you a hell of a lot more, that it will me, but I reckon I'm going to enjoy your screams." Azrael snapped the rest of the hoopak fragment in his fist, and flung it callously over his shoulder toward the door as if to mock Raistlin and Tars, as he'd just thrown Tars out of the room. Where was the Kender? Under the bed? The little... A split second Azrael feigned to look behind him as he bent over to peer into the boudoir closet, not seeing the Kendermaid hiding wedged to the inner cabinet or even perhaps a trunk. A split second he looked away, he heard the sharp scrape of his axe upon wood, he heard a startled anguished scream of the Kendermaid. And then he heard his own scream of rage to accentuate the sudden surprise that Astrid had swiped his axe, and rolled right out from underneath the bed to plant it right in the crack of his ARSE, split. Right between the mother and the farter. Sideways, and no mercy. The axe landed with a satisfying thwack into the stunned and annoyed dwarf's backside. Meanwhile Astrid the Kendermaid was still holding onto the handle, albeit something was wrong. Her face contorted into an anguished sneer, and she was so red in the face and angry she was crying. A sudden stream of rapid and increasingly obscene insults poured out of her mouth in a gnome-like fashion, although for an acolyte of Chislev, and one so chaste as Astrid to utter such blasphemies and language it was disturbing yet comical, yet horrific and obscene at the same time. What of it dared to be intelligible? "Kenderkin usurper!" Astrid screamed at the top of her lungs, breathing heavily, unable to dislodge the axe from Azrael's backside or turn loose of the handle. She screamed in annoyance at the fact she was held fast, but so angry she couldn't stand it. Tears began streaming down her little impish face, and now that she was angry her wrinkles were accentuated now, and her little green eyes blazed with fury at Azrael the dwarf as she spat and hissed and uttered blasphemies at him. DMS note *, the reason for this is simple. Astrid Damaris is a good aligned character who happens to pick up Azrael's cursed axe. Although she is immune to most magic, the particular events occurring in Ravenloft have slowly started to affect Astrid adversely. The DM can choose to play this to their detriment, as although Astrid or a good aligned character may not seek to kill or attack anything in sight, but will still hold an alert, highly erratic attitude towards everything in the party from then on. Raistlin immediately, along with Tars, rushed into the room, Raistlin uttering a quick incantation to dislodge Astrid's hold on the pommel of Azrael's axe. Astrid fell backwards, tumbling into Tasselhoff's arms, sputtering and gibbering while rolling her eyes and tongue in a manner that looked like she was about to puke. "Get her out of here, now, Tasselhoff!" Raistlin didn't hesitate as suddenly an enraged Azrael whirled on them and pulled the axe out, albeit with some difficulty. He wasn't too quick to follow the Kender out, as he now noticed Raistlin had his own phylactery cylinder and spike. Raistlin held it like a dagger in his hand as he held onto the staff of Magus with the other. "Did YA think YA were gonna take me back to Fizban?" Azrael guffawed. "Oh, pray tell them wizards at the conclave back on Krynn would love to study my yoke if they could get it." as Rael viciously shook his head and began assuming his were-badger form. "I'll make you a corpse and then use ye own spike on ye. We'll see who takes who back to Mount Celestia to the foundry or the conclave to have they secrets pried out from the yoke. I'll take ye all back to barter myself, cut Strahd out of the deal." Chirac! Raistlin's staff flared, and the two went at it.
We'll be right back, y'all. Alright, y'all. That was pretty good, wasn't it? Alright, let me collect myself here. I gotta set my stuff aside so I don't knock it off the table here. Compose myself. Make myself look a little presentable here. Get my shit collected here, guys, and we'll, okay. Let's see where we're at here. Hey, y'all. What's up? I'm alright. Health's been up and down, as usual, but I'm getting on along alright. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. Like I said, that is for the Burrfoot project. Yeah, it is based on, there was an excerpt from Black Rose's Bloom. That was the encounter between Strahd and Azrael, the dwarf. Yeah, I've got some on that too. I'll elaborate a little bit in the comments, but I'm going to go ahead and port this over to YouTube. And anyways, guys, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If I didn't get a chance to show it last stream, I wanted to show y'all the book nook that my mother made for me for Christmas. It's really cool. Yeah, I forgot about the Raceland bookmark. Shit, I should have pulled that out during the stream. But is that not cool? Yeah, my mother made that for me. It's holds pennants. It holds bookmarks. Pretty cool. Yeah, she made that for me for Christmas. That's pretty darn cool, huh? Yeah, she even made me a Raceland bookmark. Yeah, buddy. Gotta love my mama for that. But alright, guys. Anyway. Yep, I could have pulled that out from the other stream. My camera's doing its stupid shit as usual. But anyways, guys, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'll get back on here and stream a little bit later. Not tonight, but I'm going to take me a little bit of a break. But I'm going to at least catch a breather. This will be enough to port over to YouTube, and it's a nice even 45 minutes. Not too much of a waste of everybody's time. But anyways, guys, y'all be good. And this is Engine Joe. Roll on. This is the audio sourcebook reference for Astrid Damaris. This little baby right here. And we'll holler at you a little bit later. Yeah, my damn mic went weird. Alright, y'all. We'll holler at you a little bit later. Y'all be good. This is Engine Joe. Roll on.